At the current moment, not knowing if a bull market will come or how altcoins will perform, is it worth investing in Dogecoin? We'll check what potential valuations Dogecoin might reach in a bull market, what needs to happen for it to get there. Is it worth buying at current valuations, or it's better to wait a bit, and a lot of other things. Remember, if you like these analyses, want more, and want to prepare yourself with me for the upcoming part of the cycle, then subscribe to this channel and leave a thumbs up. These videos will appear for you, the algorithm will favor it, and I will be able to further develop the channel. So, I have prepared a specially dedicated material for you today about the leader of meme coins. I will also analyze the previous 2 cycles. I've done it before, but I'll do it again with you out loud and check what made Dogecoin just take off like that, why it became one of the largest cryptocurrencies on the market, and what needs to happen for it to maintain that title of leader. We'll assess the growth potential still in 2025, and I'll answer the question of whether Dogecoin at 25 cents is a good choice. So stay tuned. Not long ago, meme coins were one of the hottest segments of the cryptocurrency market. Today, this sector is experiencing a deep downturn. Here you can see the capitulation of the meme coins. Indeed, it has been going on since the moment he took office. Instead of the expected euphoria, the capitalization of coins has shrunk by $46 billion. And from the perspective of recent weeks, the meme sector is one of the worst performing in the crypto world. It is at the bottom of the list in terms of price action, where, as you remember, I'll throw it on the screen for you. In the previous year, there were such quarterly summaries of the month that RWA, AI, and meme at the forefront, especially at times when things are going well, they gained in value. And when things are bad, when there's a market downturn, not to mention NFTs, because there's even more. Look here on the left side, meme coins experience huge perturbations, indeed declines, and when things are generally bad, it's really bad for memes. And when capital returns, euphoria reappears in the market. That's when meme coins usually rebound the strongest. That's their characteristic. That's how they look, especially when the general public gets involved. Capital in market. Then meme coins also perform very well, especially those in higher positions, because you can look far and wide, like diluting Solana, pump fund, and so on, but it's hard to hit something. It's hard to sell at the right moment. Most people lose on pump fund. Remember that. I'm also showing you statistics on the screen. They were in one of the videos, where it was clearly and precisely shown that only a few % of wallets that were ever created came out ahead from these various shitcoins, meme coins, in distant positions. It's better to buy larger positions, average them out, and have a better chance that they won't collapse in the meantime, and just wait patiently, where we minimize the risk of something bad happening. When it comes to trading volumes, memes also hit the ground. Look at January, what the volumes were like, and how they dropped in February. It only took a few days for such a story to unfold. You can clearly see a broader weakening of the crypto market, but memes recently are experiencing a complete capitulation. Meanwhile, the final blow to the meme coins already down for the count is currently being dealt by this pump fan, because there are daily new token prints, and simply the hype around the entire sector has lost its momentum. Traders are already tired of it. Many people are actually embittered by the fact of what's happening with their portfolio, having lost a lot of capital in a short time, and thus they are getting upset with the market and leaving it. There's no one to push all of this, as more awaits, dangers, traps, and some such perturbations along the way, which simply negatively affect new people in the crypto market. They are almost scared away like a scarecrow. And this whole pump and dump, paradoxically, it is something like that. You could call it that. And you know, though the market downturns, despite memes are weak, new tokens don't slow down. Most are destined for trash they don't reach. DX, they have small caps. Don't get out of this pump dump, as you must. Make a few tens of thousands of dollars in market cap for it to even come out. But just in January, 600,000 new meme coins were created. So, absolute madness. Anyone can do it. It takes a moment. 99% of them don't even survive a few days, becoming rug pulls. So everyone is fed up. And many people, in a kind of hobby, a bit of gambling, unfortunately try to hit that one meme coin that will make them rich, that will earn them a lot. And that's a strategy. Okay, it is definitely possible. There is such a chance. But it's just about the fact that it's getting harder and harder. If someone is entering for the first time, they should focus on larger projects. On long-term, investing in something can survive rather than fighting with the horse in the competition, which has bots, scripts, and various kinds of operational capabilities that you don't have. So the question is, in the current situation, considering what's happening, is this beginning of the end for meme coins? Not necessarily, because despite recent declines, this market is still holding strongly, with a total capitalization of about $70 billion. And it's an unmistakable signal that, undoubtedly, collectively, they simply show that this market isn't going anywhere. Yes, of course, Trump, a big disappointment. I'll also say a few words on this topic. Now you know, I expected this. I was hoping there might be some upward trend, that indeed maybe there would be one more pump. After inauguration didn't happen. Scenario from movie didn't play out. We didn't keep playing. I had 6 trades on Trump, 6 closed in profit, each of them with a 100% win ratio. I wrote that this is a temporary game. I play in volatility. I don't buy this for the long term because it's probably junk. And I quickly mentioned that Trump is probably not interested in it. It was evident a few days. That's why I think it's better to let go of such things. Simply put, the Trump family, the states, all the investors here, took advantage of crypto. You could call it something less polite, of course colloquially, but still, you know what I mean. The message is simple. We're just in a capitalist bubble. Many entities, many companies, many huge personalities, celebrities, tokens, some celebrities like Andrew Tate, etc. Even he couldn't manage to make it last nicely, let alone others, where it just fell apart. Well, rug pulls are practically everywhere. There's also a chart, look at the screen, with the results that celebrity tokens have achieved. All of them are basically hitting the ground, and you have to resist it. It's tempting because someone has an influence on us, that influence. Yes, that's why influencers, because someone said something and it seems like time it will be different, but usually it's the same. It just ends up crashing sooner or later. Even the president of the United States screwed you over. Well, sorry, but that's the truth, and many people lost money on it. So just in 2023, 2024, it was also about those meme coins. I repeat, they were among the most popular categories of cryptocurrencies. According to CoinGecko reports, in 2023, meme coins took third place. This is what I was telling you about, 8%. Market share in terms of traffic generated, and in terms of popularity among investors, they were often first in 2024, and provided the highest returns, they were at the absolute top. And that's how it was. But despite the current slowdown, I still believe that in 2025, when the market returns to life, it may turn out to be a good year for meme coin investors, provided that the tokens are chosen wisely. So to sum up, memes are still alive, but the risk is greater than ever. Therefore, special caution should be exercised when selecting tokens for investment. Therefore, naturally, the first meme coin of choice should be DOGECOIN, the largest cryptocurrency with a long history, supported by major personalities. And its price performance, more or less, of course, memcoin all the time. We are relying on this sphere, is somewhat predictable and depends on many factors that structurally overlap each other rather than whether the owner reacts or not. So simply, if Ethereum can be called the leader of all coins and a benchmark of their condition, then DOGECOIN can confidently be called the leader of the meme market because it is the largest, oldest meme coin in the crypto market with its long-standing history that dates back to 2013. This token has been able to turn ordinary people into real millionaires. And to understand how strong a position Doge has in the meme market, it's enough to compare its market capitalization to the overall capitalization of the meme sector, because its market cap alone is $37 to $39 billion, so half of the entire meme coin market is Dogecoin. At present, that's just how it is, and although they started the whole history of this meme as a joke, the returns are impressive, because since the first annotations, in terms of some stock market valuation and tracking those numbers, the price has increased by 103,000%, while the price of Bitcoin during this period increased its value by 16,470%. And of course, this isn't the very beginning, but it's something where there were already, let's say, some data and tracking. Take a look at how it looked over the years, especially in 2020, where the purple graph represents Dogecoin, and the orange one is Bitcoin. And of course, over more than a decade, Doge has created many millionaires, but of course, I think even more people have experienced significant losses when they bought at the peaks and sold off too quickly. But as history has shown, this token has a chance to return to its all-time high and reach a point where no one who didn't sell the token will be at a loss, simply because historically, the token has a chance to just increase in value. And if someone is considering buying Doge, the first thing they should do is simply analyze how this token performed in previous bull markets. So let's go through that now. Cycle by cycle, step by step, how Doge moved in previous cycles, what increases in 2017-2021, what actually caused it to grow, and what needs to happen again. What were the main mechanisms of interest in Dogecoin that could be front-run and hypothetically anticipate this situation to know that it's approaching? And why, in general, did this help the project, this altcoin, to become successful? The undisputed leader of memcoins over the past cycles. Let's go. So first, a historical perspective. Doge is the oldest, it's the largest Bitcoin. It's a great example of how powerful the influence of community, media, and widespread enthusiasm can be on the valuation of even those projects that were created as a pure joke. Observing the charts from 2017 or 2021, it's easy to conclude that this token has often surprised with its growth dynamics. For example, the 2017 bull market. These are the beginnings of the memecoin on the big stage. Let's call it that. Doge has existed for 4 years. Despite that, for a long time, it remained just an amusing curiosity. It interested people who were in the know about the world of cryptocurrencies, active users of internet forums, Reddit, Twitter, some 4chan. But something started to change when in the early months of 2017 Bitcoin surpassed the important psychological barrier of $1,000, and soon after, a Broad wave of increases in altcoins. A mass of new investors appeared on the market, hoping to find the next Bitcoin, which, as you know, was already a kind of mecca and an idea to not miss out on the next token that will grow. Because it's too late for Bitcoin. It costs $1,000. $100,000 now. People thought similarly back then, right? So, just as surely, in a few or several years, they will be saying that people who buy Bitcoin at $1 million will say that at $100,000, it was cheap and they regret not buying it. There's a chance for that. So, they simply hope to find a new Bitcoin, a project with the potential to multiply capital over. Because in crypto, the rule usually applies. When the king rises, so does the rest, a trickle-down effect. When Bitcoin goes up, those gains spread to the rest of the market. Other tokens were rising then, and DOGECOIN was also at the forefront. And what attracted the most people to this token at that time was its low nominal price. People didn't understand at all. They didn't know what market cap was or what token circulation meant. They only saw the low price of 0.0000x and bought it because if it reaches $1, we'll be rich. And in a way, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy because many players with small budgets preferred to buy hundreds of thousands of DOGECOINs rather than fractions of a Bitcoin. And a significant influence on this was the integrated, humorous community on Reddit, where they organized charity fundraisers and spread positive memes. And it was precisely these, let's call them internet positive vibes, this charming image of the Shiba Inu dog breed and the cool, friendly atmosphere around the token that provided a solid foundation for Doge to become an unexpected hero of the alt season in 2017, because in the spring Doge experienced one of its first major rallies to $0.004. If someone bought it in March 2017 for $0.002, then by early June, in 3 months, their bags made a 2,000% profit. Yes, back then it was enough just to have the information that, well, it's going up. It started circulating on forums, fueled FOMO, and drove prices up. And that's how it looked. Then came the summer correction. And at the worst moment, those who bought at the peak were, guess what, 85% down. And then what happened next? DOGECOIN hit new all-time highs. So the fact that you're down 40% or 50 more, tough? Well, shit happens. Just wait. It turned out then that it wasn't the end and that you could recover those losses. But the biggest craze happened at the end of 2017 when Bitcoin was approaching $20,000. And then the alt season, let's call it alt season 0, picked up a dizzying pace. Almost all altcoins had their moment in the spotlight. Doge found in the top beneficiaries as it was already recognizable on various exchanges, drawing media attention. As a joke that was becoming serious, headlines started appearing in the media like DOGECOIN surpasses $1 billion market cap. It sounded so absurd, in fact, that people began to become more and more interested that such a thing was even happening. Some kind of matrix, something odd. And by the end of the year, the price of Doge reached the highest levels of that cycle, which it surpassed again at the beginning of January 2018, before the market entered a bear phase, because in 2 months the price pumped over 1,800%. And this short episode was enough to become somewhat of a symbol of how irrational the cryptocurrency market can be and at the same time how important the power of memes community is. Such support from the community, ambassadorship, and being with the project through thick thin. Because at the peak of that bull market, one token cost almost 2 cents, and the market cap was over $2 billion. Let's go back to 2021 to see how DOGECOIN once again caught the wind in sales, thanks to influencers, thanks to the mass adoption of memes. And let's see what heights it can reach and from what levels it simply had to do it and where it fell. And during that period, cryptocurrencies were booming again, this time fueled by events such as money printing. It was related to the pandemic with low interest rates. Bitcoin surpassed $20,000 already in December 2020. Then in April, it cost $64,000. In the first half of 2021, all altcoins were doing great. But once again, Doge stood out significantly. It benefited from yet another powerful catalyst at that time. Such a factor, meaning the activity of influencers, but in particular, Elon Musk. Look at what he wrote, December 2020. One word, Doge, or DOGECOIN is the cryptocurrency for the people, or it's my favorite cryptocurrency. It's very cool. And this is written by one of the richest people in the world at that time, a person who has a huge account on X. So how can you not be excited? Look at how many likes it had back then. Some had 500,000. He was practically shilling DOGECOIN, and directly. Musk didn't hide his fondness for it. This probably indirectly helped him earn a few bucks. He had mentioned it sporadically before, for example, but in 2021 it reached a higher level. In early February 2021, he published tweets that looked more like viral content straight out of 4chan rather than serious posts from the CEO of Tesla. At that time, he was 99% sure of what he was doing and used his reach to push DOGECOIN higher by posting memes. Here, look, for example, he posted in December 2020 at some absurd valuations. And besides Musk, other celebrities joined the hype. For example, rapper Snoop Dogg, in a more humorous than formal way, was throwing out statements of support for the DOGECOIN and were fueling the whole interest on the internet. In January, Doge was worth fractions of a cent, but by April it had reached 40 cents. And finally in May it set its all-time high at 75 cents. And for comparison, several months earlier, such a price seemed like pure abstraction, and the market capitalization of Dogecoin at one point surpassed $70 billion, placing it around the fourth position in the ranking of top cryptocurrencies. And even now, if it had $70 billion, just look. If we look at CoinMarketCap, it would realistically be in 7th place, right behind Solana, right behind BNB, so one place higher. Okay, it would just surpass USDC, but still, now there are more funds, overall, due to Bitcoin in the market, than there were back then, at least periodically. So, key to that rally at the time was not only Musk's influence, but also the broader market context, because 2021 was a time of massive influx of retail investors, partly thanks to platforms like Robinhood, where people could easily buy cryptocurrencies, and partly also due to the immense popularity of TikTok, which was gaining significance at the time, with videos spreading rapidly, encouraging the purchase of Dogecoin. The macroeconomic situation also favored this. Low interest rates persisted, and there were generous stimulus packages in the US and in other countries, which resulted in a flood of cheap money into the market, seeking quick and high returns. And no segment was as heated as crypto, which naturally boosted all projects in which even a shadow of potential for dynamic growth could be seen. And Dogecoin, what about it? Funny, backed by celebrities, cheap to buy, at least from the standpoint of the nominal price per token, turned out to be the perfect target for this type of speculation. The absolute highlight was Elon Musk's appearance on the show Saturday Night Live in May 2021, because earlier, Musk called himself the Doge Father, meaning the godfather of Dogecoin, let's say, which further fueled the market and caused an all-time high of 75 cents just before the show's broadcast. Everyone was waiting to hear what Musk would say, but ultimately it was a typical sell. The news, a perfect historical peak. Doge was never more expensive than it was then, and despite the crash we see here, how it plummeted, remarkably, in 4 months by a strong 70%, quickly. Calculating and looking, in the perspective of the entire year 2021, this token showed stunning rates of return. Because anyone who bought at the local low at the end of 2020 and sold even at 50 or 60 cents could talk about thousands of percent in profit, several thousand %, dozens of X. However, those who bought at the very peak had to swallow bitter declines, but so. One way or another, Doge was gaining the status of a cult meme coin with which few others could compete in terms of the legend's recognizability. And as a little anecdote, I'll tell you that unfortunately, that's how it is that here I buy, for example, Dogecoin among 10,000 people over a few months. This is pure speculation. And at the moment when it gets louder hear all these messages. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people buy Dogecoin, which means that, in reality, statistically, only about 2 to 3% of people made X20, X40, X80. Some of them also sold here, because they doubted that there would be no increases. So that's how it is. You need to know that maybe 0.5% of Dogecoin investors made times several dozen and more who ever bought. Most are at a loss, realized or unrealized, because that's just how it looks. So, in the form of such conclusions, looking at the history of Doge's growth in 2017 and 2021, it's not hard to notice a few recurring themes. First of all, in both periods, a positive market environment was key. When crypto was in a bull market, macroeconomics also favored growth. Then Dogecoin also automatically gained in value. Moreover, in both situations, the token benefited from its humorous nature. And it was precisely the feeling that we were part of something cool and laid back that made the community so uniquely engaged and effectively boosted the image of this currency on the internet. It was also the case that in both bull markets, it especially attracted beginners who were looking for a cheap coin with growth potential. And the fact that in 2017 Doge could be bought for fractions of a cent, and in 2021 it still reached small values compared to Bitcoin, created the impression that it would be easier to grow to, for example, $1. And although such thinking doesn't take into account the token supply, it is very common among inexperienced investors. And to this explosive mix in 2021, Elon Musk fueled the FOMO. So the question is, does Dogecoin have a chance, and will it grow in 2025? Let's go over this and check it out now. Because looking only at the current cycle, we see that the meme leader was already doing well. In 2024, as I showed you here, what and how. What were the increases? At this point, almost at the peak of local declines, excluding August and September, and sell it for 47 cents. So the fact that I was buying altcoins, not only in Bitcoin and so on, that's one thing. But when I realized profits, and what I bought with those profits, that's another thing. And those cycles matter. They simply matter statistically, the moments that I see in my portfolio were profitable. And for example, here I decided in July that the portfolios and cryptocurrencies from March or April, some XAI and some things you asked me about sometimes, I sold at a loss and I talked about it. When someone returns to the channel after half a year or a year, I say, what's up with XAI? What's up with some other project? What's up with Dimension? Well, it happened. I lost or broke even in the best cases. I informed about it precisely, changed the portfolio, and got into some memes. Dogecoin, XRP, and so on gave me returns of about 300-400% within 2 to 3 months by selling them and realizing profits, using that to buy other altcoins, now during some declines, a bit prematurely, in 2 tranches. Buying back Bitcoin, which gave me returns, Ethereum, which I'm still maneuvering around, but having that cashed in and having more stable coins. So that's how it looks. That was my strategy, and that's just how I did it. But as most of you probably know, because I've been observing this last year, we had 2 short alt seasons. The first one took place early in the year in February and March, and the second one occurred recently at the turn of November and December. And we see that the first time, Doge from the local low at the end of January to the local high at the end of March gained 194% last year, right here at this moment. A decent result, but it wasn't anything spectacular as other smaller memes were making several thousand% gains. It was possible Pepe was achieving some super values. But if we are to make a more detailed analysis of these increases, Doge simply benefited from good market conditions. At that time, practically nothing had changed compared to 2021. Bitcoin was still the leader of its sector. It had an established position. It had a large community behind it. Musk was also a top influencer, if you can call it that, who from time to time supported Doge on Twitter. So the main mechanisms of this trigger for interest in the first half of 2024 were the same in the bull market of 2021. In the second alt season, last year, Doge performed much better because from September to the first week of December, it pumped over 400%, which means it achieved twice the result it did in March. Look here, how many of these bars were positive, weekly for 8 weeks. For 2 months it rose continuously, without any weekly correction. There was one in second week, but it didn't materialize. Alright, but what was the main reason for this rally? I'll show you, because we can't ignore the non-existing mechanisms of interest. Doge was the leader of memes all along, with a trusted community led by Musk. However, in the second half of 2024, a key change occurred on the political scene, which is literally a game changer for Doge. And in my opinion, it's thanks to this that it achieved a 400% increase in about 2 or 3 months, because Doge entered the world of politics. Although the meme coin itself doesn't have a direct connection to what's happening. In the USA, you have to admit that the coincidence is not accidental. In the USA, they simply established the Department of Government Efficiency, which is abbreviated as Doge. Someone tell me that's just a coincidence. Moreover, it's headed by Elon Musk himself, which is even more suspicious. Naming strategy is intentional. Simply establishing Doge under the Trump administration is symbolic, but potentially a groundbreaking moment for Dogecoin. Because now not only Bitcoin, but also Doge itself, and the abbreviation of the new department's name, can simply contribute to further increasing awareness about this meme and its adoption. And the more often Dogecoin appears in political debate, the greater the chance that its use will surpass the boundary of internet jokes and become more widespread. If favorable regulations and growing interest from institutions are added, Doge could gain an even larger role in the broader financial system. Alright, but regarding the growing interest of smart money here too, it's developing, because the whole Dogecoin story seems incredible, right from an internet joke featuring a dog to an asset with a multi-billion market capitalization. So the question is, what are the prospects for future growth for Dogecoin? Well, it seems optimistic, to be honest, because just 2 or 3 years ago, it was unthinkable. But now it turns out that the largest entities from the financial world will be able to invest in Dogecoin. And it's all thanks to ETFs, because at the beginning of this year, the company Bitwise, the same one that offers ETFs for Bitcoin and Ethereum, submitted an application to the SEC to establish an ETF fund linked to Dogecoin, and earlier similar applications were submitted by companies Rex Shares and Osprey Funds. And the prospect of approving an ETF for memecoin seems even more realistic after Trump's inauguration as president, because he announced that there should be friendly regulations for cryptocurrencies. And his own memecoins, Trump and Melania, simply point directly to his personal interest in this market segment and such strong capitalistic tendencies. But the interest of these big and influential players doesn't just end there. We regularly learn that more companies are buying it for their reserves, so it's not just Bitcoin. Look, the first example from Canada. The publicly traded Canadian company Neptune Digital Asset Corp acquired 1 million Doge tokens worth approximately $300,000 at the end of 2024. USA. Spirit Blockchain Capital purchased Dogecoins at the end of this year. This is a publicly traded investment company that focuses on blockchain technologies and digital assets. Tesla, although it sold 75% of its Bitcoins in the second quarter of 2022, confirmed that it retained all its Dogecoins, and the exact number of tokens not been disclosed. Out of the $218 million invested in digital assets, some is likely allocated to Doge. Asia, the Japanese company RemixPoint, known for its activities in the energy sector, in its financial statements, reports that it holds over 1 million tokens, valued at approximately $500,000. This is probably an old report because now they are worth a bit less, but they are still there. So, to sum up everything I've said in this video, it's simply safe to say that the future looks promising. But you must remember that the crypto market is relentlessly governed by liquidity. Yes, it's said that you can't pour from an empty cup, and that's a very straightforward comparison to what's happening. If there's no money in the market, even Dogecoin won't grow. Despite the positive narrative around all of this, it probably won't achieve a great result. And the crypto market is currently in a state of stagnation due to the limited availability of money. In 2017 and 2021, the bull market for Dogecoin was driven by money printing and a cheap dollar. For now, the conditions are much more difficult. Dogecoin, as well as the broader altcoin market, need monetary easing from the Fed, and until that happens, Doge may have difficulty breaking its previous ATH. And on the other hand, the current correction in memes, low valuations, and weak sentiment may simply be for some just a good moment to buy this Doge, to have exposure to mannequins. So it is probably the safest bet in this sector in terms of size because it is the undisputed leader at the moment. Even Trump himself wasn't able to knock it off the throne. That's why I personally have a lot of Dogecoin. And finally, there might be an issue that might interest you the most, which is, well, you make the decision yourself. Here's an example. But when to buy, what to do, at what price. The current moment doesn't seem bad for buying Dogecoin. Understood. It seems relatively good, assuming the bull market continues. It costs about 25 cents. We have a 50% discount from the December peak, from 75 cents. We have a discount there of about 66%. So think for yourselves whether this is a sufficient discount for you, if you're waiting for lower prices. And going back to that, I generally keep Dogecoin, and earlier I sold it for 47 cents, but I bought it back again for the second round. For now, I'm at a small loss, but I believe that sooner or later it will surprise us again. And Dogecoin will indeed deliver great results. So remember, Dogecoin as the biggest coin can also work in such a way that you buy during the dips, do DCA, until sooner or later you come out ahead, of course, getting rid of it at the end of the cycle, because then it doesn't really make much sense to hold it for that long. So you can enter 2 or 3 times, for example, with half now, and add more as it goes down. And a question to end with. Is Dogecoin at $1 by the end of the bull market possible? I believe it is definitely within reach. This would give a 4-fold profit from this level or less if someone entered earlier. It's possible it could soar a bit higher, even to a $17. To those levels if there was a bull market. It is within reach. It's simply possible. Here is also the 1.618 Fibonacci level. Well, Dogecoin reacted well to the golden packet of the entire measurement from the previous peak in 2021 to the bear market low. And it seems that Doge can simply respect key Fibonacci levels well. Hence, I believe that this upward impulse, aside from the aspects that I mentioned, something has to happen for the growth to even begin. Once it starts, it could lead it to a price above $1. This would give Dogecoin a market capitalization of around $200 billion. Currently, it's, around 38 to 40. We would be approaching 160 to 170, which is the current market capitalization of XRP. Yes, XRP is now at 151. That's around half the value of what Ethereum has. Then XRP and Ethereum should increase even more, which would indeed mean that XRP and Ethereum would not be overtaken by Dogecoin. That's how it would look. Any chance for this? Absolutely. I'm counting on it. So if you agree, and you take responsibility for deciding when to buy, leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for this video. There will be a few days break on the channel now, but we'll probably catch up after the weekend. Take care. Bye.